Welcome to your ears, the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill. No me diga.
I am John Gilardi, and I've never been to New York City.
Wow.
I've been almost all
Not
over.
even like passing through in LaGuardia?
I pass through. I flip off MetLife Stadium or the Meadowlands Stadium every time. It's a tradition of mine. I've been by the city. I've flown into Newark. I have driven through the Bronx, but I won't count that. That's the closest I've been to New York City.
You just drove through.
Drove through. I think.
Why'd you drive through the Bronx?
I don't know. And I've been on the George Washington Bridge, which is actually a little relevant to this.
It is.
Yeah. So
it is relevant.
I don't know why I was going over the bridge trying to go north-south.
I don't know. I'm trying to unpack because that's one of the things that's confusing is the geography of New York is a little bit I understand it, but it's also, and I have this problem with Wilmington too. It's I understand and
oh no, telephone.
Telephone. We cut out a little phone call there.
2 minutes into this podcast,
2
going
minutes
strong.
into the podcast, killing it.
So
but we don't stop.
Besides not understanding geography, which you established last week with Scandinavia.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I was talking about more regional geography is what I'm talking about, where it's because here in Wilmington, I know where everything is in relation to stuff, but I have in the larger concept of where it is facing the world.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
I'm I'm on this street. Well, I know it goes this way to the beach, but where's the beach in relation to is it north? Is it south? I have no idea.
Well, for me, that's the big thing is when you have a coast. For me, that's what grounds me.
Yeah.
And lets me not have that issue.
Yeah.
Where we live, but now I'm moving to Raleigh, which is completely in the middle of land.
Well, see what I
did.
did.
It doesn't. It has a river, but it doesn't have a big river like Richmond does with the James River or whatever, or even whatever. Anyways, so what did we watch this week?
So this week we're going to talk about the adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's first Broadway smash, not Hamilton.
Nope.
In the Heights.
And rap musical?
Rap musical. I would say it's more. He definitely has his style where it's, rap.
I like his style.
Yeah, it's very wordy. It's beautiful stuff. I love it. It's very wordy, but also conversational.
Yeah,
it's one of the things that I really like about him. And it's it's definitely to the highest of his intelligence. One of the things where it's you just played it to the highest of your intelligence.
Yeah, he's a great talent. I mean, that's why Disney's tapping into him for everything right now.
Yeah,
and I don't. Where do you start with this?
Synopsize this movie. Hey, you synopsize this movie for me.
All right, it's about Usnavi, U.S. Navy, which is fun.
Yeah,
I love that bit.
You didn't get that bit? Have you listened? Have you listened to this before?
No, this is 100% new. Besides any of the trailers.
Gotcha.
It's Usnavi. He's from the Dominican Republic. Keeps throwing me off because I know that Lin-Manuel is Puerto Rican.
Yeah. So
I was because I thought, I don't know, it's still something he pulled from his life still. But anyways, he came from the Dominican Republic with his dad. His dad had a bar back in the DR. He is kind of running a bodega. It was always supposed to be temporary.
Yeah.
And because he wanted to go back and open up a bar like his dad. And so this whole thing is about kind of making a home in a new place while also kind of looking back towards the old home, the origin. It's a story about immigrants, the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's and just some of the hardships and biases and prejudices that immigrants are dealing with in America. And there's even an interesting scene where he's one of the business guys talking about, this used to be an Irish thing. And it's it keeps cycling, and in terms of the immigrant story, especially in New York City, Gangs of New York is that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that summarizes it.
It summarizes it pretty good. It's definitely the town, the story of Right, it's a changing, because I think where we have our story,
Yeah, that's very important.
It's sort of like a changing neighborhood where, it was sort of like this bastion of the the Latin community, like where like a lot of people sort of like planted there, and now where we pick up our story in this, it's like sort of like toward maybe the tail end of that, as like the younger generation, the people who have like been there are like, hey, we're starting to move on and change, and the things that our parents set up for us to keep us safe, as well as to like set us up for success in America, and now because of that, Washington Heights is sort of moving.
Yeah.
Well,
there's
but then that's like sort of our spoiler alert. Our sort of like Usnavi becomes like, hey, I'm gonna like, instead of going off to the DR to like reconnect with my past, I'm gonna stay here and continue the future. Or something like that.
Yeah, and and I think that's I think what's cool about this is that it's super relatable to just like anyone.
Yeah.
You don't like have to be an immigrant, first or second generation, or an actual like you came like within your life to relate to a lot of the themes in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure people who are definitely relate extra. But there are a lot of things, such as moving and a sense of home and having dreams and just the grind and working day by day to get there, and these are very human things that we go through every day. And I think it had a lot of things going for it, why it was so popular. Obviously, cool, catchy musical by an up and coming playwright, or I don't know, what would you call him? Guy. In Lin-Manuel.
Genius.
Yeah. So you have, and then it just has so many themes that anyone can hit on, and then it's also super specific in a sense too, to a neighborhood, to a group of people in America. So it's got a lot. It's the more you look at it, the more you break it down, the more impressive it is at what it accomplishes and how universal it is at the same time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really like, again, white dude here, but all the stuff, like, and I think too, a lot of it goes to help sort of in a very soft way, like educate, like, hey, like the song that really fucking hit me like really hard in the face in the Sweet Emotions was the song where the old lady is going back through all the stuff that she's done, and then like coupling that with her watching all the people that she's essentially been like a grandmother, a mentor, like she's watching them have fun,
and her fun. Oh God.
As she's sort of like fading away, and like she's remembering what she had to do, and it just kind of it puts it in perspective, and I mean, it's something that but not it's.
And she touched that before. It's like the little dignities with
like
our hands were messed up from the cleaning chemicals, but we made sure we had nice gloves, or like I don't know, just like little things like that. And then you hear her say it, and she's there, and the I think it's either it's someone young, and they're there, they hear it.
Yeah.
But I think
it's Nina.
Yeah, Nina, and you're there, and your experience the way she is, like you hear it, you appreciate it, but it's like you don't fully understand. You're not fleshing it out, and then when you see her, and I didn't even need the flashback musical bit to hit that, because like I would like, as soon as
seeing
her panting, watching them, it snaps. Like you're like, oh my God, these are her final moments. She's looking at them. Like I jumped in the sense of, I was thinking like, you're looking at them and they're living their life. They have things to look forward to. They have their past.
Yeah.
And you're viewing it yourself, probably reflecting. And then, there she goes in the piece, in the set piece. How was the music number?
The music number, yeah.
And that was a really powerful moment in the movie.
And that really hit me. I mean, also she kind of looks like my mom, and so I was like, all right. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and all like, I have not seen this show live, but this is a fun movie, you know. Talk to me more about stuff that you like, because I have thoughts.
I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
Good colors, good set. I mean, just everything's good. Everything about it is good. I can list off what's good, but I'm just gonna say everything. I like. I don't know. It's just solid, so it's hard to like pick things apart. I really like the characterization and the introduction to characters, the fleshing out of, yes, we have our main people, but also giving them credence so you can get a general idea of the neighborhood and the types of lives there. A lot of the imagery was great. You know, where is Nina the college one?
Yes. Vanessa's the fashion.
Right. Because Vanessa Hudgens played her in the Kennedy Center version, which
you're correct. Yeah,
it's easy to remember that.
There you go.
Anyway, so my text messaging threw me off.
You got it, dude.
So when she has her song, like how she feels like a fraud because she's come back home.
That song hits me hard too.
Yeah, and the little girl's there, and like the way she looks up, it's so good because you have the contrasting of she feels like a loser, and she feels like a fraud, and that little girl's looking up to her, and that makes her feel like a fraud. But that girl's looking up to her like she's already done.
Yeah. She's
already done everything she could for that little girl to have that image, have that thing to look up to.
Yeah.
Which I think was really interesting. And it was like, it wasn't, I don't know if it was a point or a message there with the little girl.
I think the little girl was her.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. It's
it could be because it does have that kind of imagery of flashback stuff.
Yeah, especially because she's talking in that song, she's talking about the support that she got from the neighborhood. And
so there are flashbacks like, in the house and stuff, and maybe I didn't pick up that it was the same actor, the little girl, but
I mean, however it hits you is how you hit you.
But I still got something like I think that's very true and could be there.
Yeah, and
it's logical, and I like that moment. Technically speaking, the side of the building was just cool to look at. It was impressive.
Yeah,
it's hard to see between the effects.
That song is not in the show.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what changes there were made.
I'll tell you about them.
I will say, I've only watched this once, so there's a big caveat there. But I can't look back and remember any tunes.
Okay.
And I think it took me one or two. The first listen of Hamilton.
Yeah.
I had tunes in my head ringing and ringing and ringing.
I mean,
and I had a little bit pre-exposure, but honestly not that much. So
yeah,
I don't take that with what you will.
Did you pick up on the little nod to it in this?
I didn't, but before you jump into that, because I'm curious, that's not to say the music wasn't good or catchy or well sung or anything like that. I don't know. It just didn't retain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot in here. So
it's interesting because I have a point on that. But the little Hamilton nod, I think there's like hold music. Whenever he's calling Stanford, and it's what can I do? It's the
say welcome. Were you singing the Rock?
I was singing the fucking Moana song. It's the King George. It's the King George.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. But so this is one of the things that I've liked In the Heights since when it was like introduced to me, but it was introduced to me after Hamilton. So one of the things that makes Hamilton really stick out for me is that in that first song, they set up like all the themes that they're going to use, and they do that in this song as well, or in this opening number as well. And in Hamilton, they really drive them home, and they continue to go back to those themes, so that it's like they're using the same things over and over again, but in more in an interesting way so that it connects back up and like it incites a feeling from you is like the more and more it's used.
It has more motifs.
It has more motifs, but they're also used more deliberately, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the motifs that are set up in this aren't they still set them up and they go back to them, but they don't use them as broadly or as subtly.
Yeah.
You know, they don't come up as often. And so they're less impactful when they do come up in this. I mean, and that's not to say it's not brilliant and I could do it. Yeah. I'm just saying it's like something that he probably is like, hey, I really liked how we did this. I really liked how we did this in Heights, and I want to grow off of this. So it's just really interesting to kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a natural progression.
Yeah.
Of his creation and his talent around making something in this sense. So it is definitely an interesting. Because a lot of people are probably like me exposed to Hamilton. I mean, even you.
Yeah.
Even if it's years back, Hamilton first, then this.
Yeah.
And so.
Especially now.
Yeah, and so it's a weird contrast of one musically is probably better than the other, or at least catchier, or more developed.
Yeah.
Or matured because of the creator being matured and more resources perhaps. So that's an interesting thing.
It's a tough thing to say. It's like is Hamilton musically better?
I mean,
I think that because
more poppy or like who knows?
It's more poppy. It's more consistent. But I would say that In the Heights is more musically diverse.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like
I agree with that.
We kind of hit a lot of different genres. And it's like in Hamilton, you kind of have like your sort of hip hoppy sing-songy thing, and then you have ballads.
Mm-hmm. And then the one pop gimmick with the King George.
Yeah, which I would say falls into sort of like a traditional musical theater type thing.
Yeah,
which is like kind of within the ballad, you know, but it's not that far of a stretch. I would say that, you know, and that might be one of the reasons too, where it's like Hamilton stays so consistent and like it's like if it's a line graph, it goes.
Well, maybe that's why it's easy to recall.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
what I'm
like
saying.
It's all kind of blurs in a good way.
Yeah, where it's like they all kind of become the same thing, but then also aren't, and they're like unique, but they're still close enough to like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Well, demonetized.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like again, I think the performance of Leslie Odom Jr. was so iconic too. Mm-hmm. And he carried some of those songs so well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if this had or not, you know, with Christopher Jackson or Lin-Manuel years back or whatever. And that's not, but also I don't think that's a good enough reason for.
It's much more ensemble too.
Because I think that, yeah, definitely. But I think, which I think is a pro in terms of musical like diversity and quality in that regard, where quantity is a quality, I think, in this sense. But Sergio Ramos?
Anthony Ramos? The guy who plays Usnavi /
Is it Anthony?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sergio Ramos.
Is that a baseball player?
I think he might be.
Or is that a soccer player?
He might. I don't know. That's a name. I feel like that's a name.
I feel like, wait.
But this is Anthony Ramos.
Okay. Well, he's amazing. Like
I'm sure that I'm Ramos. I'm sure that I'm completely
Ramos. Anyways, he's outstanding. He is.
Oh yeah.
He can carry the screen.
He
should have been way more cast and popular after Hamilton, I think.
Yeah.
But I hope he gets that after this because he's outstanding.
I mean, he does a great.
And his story's cool too. Yeah, Anthony Ramos. His story's cool with kind of just being a struggling baseball minor league player, college player or something, trying to come up, and then I think he shifted.
What?
He's a baseball player.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know this.
Yeah.
Tell me this story. Wait, hold on. This is Anthony Ramos?
Yeah.
Ramos? I'm fucking a mess.
I mean, if you can vamp for a second, I can pull it up.
Anthony Ramos was really good. I think that it's like one of the he was perfect. Like it's almost like Lin-Manuel wrote this part for Anthony Ramos and then needed to wait for him to age into it. Like cuz it's perfect for him. I mean, the same with hopefully he plays Alexander Hamilton in whatever the come up to the. I'm sure they're gonna make a Hamilton movie, but I don't know how you would make a Hamilton movie.
I want to get into that actually after
Yeah.
Because I found this information.
Tell me this information.
He intended, he sang like Motown songs in like high school. So he was in a little bit of theater in high school.
Yeah.
But then he graduated. He played baseball throughout high school, and then played D3 college baseball. His ambition centered around baseball, and he coached a little bit.
Huh.
But then, but at the same time, I guess after high school, he was attending a musical and dramatic arts academy, and he was there on a full scholarship. So I guess he was always
playing D3 baseball while he was attending art school.
Yeah. So I
Damn,
guess,
dude.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's really cool.
That also makes him an awesome casting for any kind of baseball movie story because he's got the skill. And he's got the skill on both sides of the fence.
Make a baseball musical. It's like a new baseball musical, not freaking Damn Yankees. Someone get rid of that, or I feel like we've got enough Faustian bargain stuff. Get out of here with Damn Yankees. Let's do some sort of new Lin-Manuel. This is me talking directly to you.
He's not done working with that man.
He better not be. He's made for him.
Yeah.
And he can rap, and he can sing.
Well, I think he can cover Lin-Manuel's aging, in the sense of like
he's
things Lin-Manuel would have done for himself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm getting old though.
I got Anthony to do it.
Which is exactly probably what happened here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, so he could direct too.
Well, he's not direct. He didn't direct this.
Oh right, it was
John M. Chu.
Yeah.
Who directed Crazy Rich Asians?
Oh. So Hamilton movie.
Yeah, I
think it's a matter of time.
I mean, it's a matter of time.
Gonna make money.
Disney has it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're gonna it's gonna happen at some point, because Disney is not gonna it's not gonna be like, all right, Golden Goose, go ahead, go out to pasture.
Yeah, I think
Disney is gonna figure out a way to get more golden eggs out of it.
And I want to see it.
I don't know.
I don't know if it doesn't need to happen. It's not fulfilling something I'm missing, but I'm very curious because I really like Hamilton, and I really like U.S. history, and I really like period pieces, and I've immersed myself and been interested enough in Hamilton, and know enough of history because I want to see how those things blend together.
Yeah, but that brings me to sort of one of my points about this movie, and one of the reasons that I'm like apprehensive about the eventual Hamilton movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't like part of the magic of like watching Hamilton was it all happening at once on stage.
Yeah, on a very simple set too.
On a very simple set, very straightforward, and that's one of the things.
I'd say the set for this, from what I've seen, is way more evocative of an actual place.
Yeah,
because it's the street. It's the four-way intersection. You got the corner store.
Yeah,
you have the dispatch. You have the hairdresser, and you have the bodega.
But I think too, it's like whenever he farted. It smells real bad.
Yeah, we got another dog in here, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Ragnar Jones.
Just let out a big beef bomb.
Yeah, he really dropped one. But I think, sorry, John. Real fast. One time I was working at a deli and I was cleaning out a buffalo sauce container. This won't connect up to anything, but it connects up to the fart. I was cleaning it out as a buffalo sauce container, and I filled it up with a bunch of hot water. And I don't know if you know, but capsaicin reacts to heat, which is capsaicin is the thing that makes it burn in your mouth. And so I filled up a buffalo sauce container filled with hot water. I shook it up and I sprayed it out because I was trying to clean it out. And I inadvertently created like a pepper bomb, and everybody in the store started to cough and their eyes started to run.
Oh my God.
And that was
at Chops?
This was at Chops, yeah.
Oh my God.
This is so throwback. TC, I'm sorry. Bradley, I'm sorry. But it was what it is. You got to learn things somehow.
Hey. Well, now you know if you're having a weird MacGyver like stick up in a deli.
Yeah.
You can easily pepper spray the bad guys and use that as your
there we
leg
go.
up.
There we go. in that specific situation, I've got it.
Yep. Do you remember what you were saying?
What I was saying was, when we translate stuff to film, I have an issue when we translate theater stuff to film, especially musicals, because it feels like we have this need to ground stuff and be like, oh, look at the scope, look at the size, and I think that's good. That's like a good intention. It's like, yeah, we have this ability to show this scope, to show the size of stuff. But I think something that is lost is some of the like really interesting maneuvering that you have to do. Like on stage, you have to manipulate this one set space and move it and make the audience believe that they are in many different places and give them the feeling of emotions. You have to change the lights in order to...
Or just that, like, imagination mix,
Yeah.
like that forced not like just that directed imagination that you're kind of handing them.
You have to, like, all right, this is, like, the kind of the feeling, and then,
Yeah.
you know, you jump off of that. On film, we've fucking seen so many movies where we can see, they're like, oh, if on stage we're in space and we're, like, doing, like, a song where the person feels like they're floating away or something like that, and they're, like, they have to do all this, like, trickery to, like, try and manipulate that feeling out of them. But in a movie, they could literally just put a person in space.
You just see it.
You know, we can just see it. We can just do it. And that's one of my kind of, like, biggest problems with the translation of that, where it's like all of those things that should be built off of in film seem like they're taken back and like, oh, we'll place this in the real world because we can.
Yeah.
And like my biggest issue is in our big group dance numbers, when it's like they're just big group dance numbers. We've got a crane and there's a bunch of people dancing, and it's like that's essentially the same thing as it would be on stage. You know, give me some dynamics. Give me something. Give me something big. Give me something more.
The good thing about that, though, is at least the people dancing look like regular people.
Yeah.
Which it does. That's a big strength in this.
Yeah. And I'm not. That is a big strength, and I'm not saying.
I know. I still hear you, and I agree. I'm just saying. Well, at least there's that.
Yeah, and it's still like it's good, but it's also like there's just so many options. There's like on film. There's no limits, especially now. There's no excuses with technology. It's like, you know, in the carnival, the barrio scene, why are we stuck in that actual place? Why don't we, you know, at one point she wipes the camera and we're in, you know.
Well, we only have, as much as I can recall, we have that once with the, the old lady.
With the old lady scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, her moving, it's one of my favorite numbers. Her moving through the years on the train as we see like these like khaki toned people who are on the street, and she's like the lone pop of color, and like it's like staged and it's beautiful, and we're moving through it.
It's a cool mashing of old home.
Yeah.
To being like in the new place.
Yeah.
Like with
it's familiar, but it goes beyond the limitations of what you would be able to do on stage. All this other stuff, it's like, you know, we could just cycle through these sets. The other one is like the mannequins. Like I love that, like the little mannequin heads in the No Me Diga song. Mm-hmm. Like just those little things that are like, we can focus on those little moments and we could take it out of the real world. And I understand wanting to ground it because, you know, this is maybe not a place that we see very often, but give it like, I don't know, it's a musical, and give us more. It's I don't know. That's the thing that it's missing for me that I want from it.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't have enough experience on either to have a strong feeling.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, you're a thespian through and through too, so that's a huge perspective and angle you're coming in with too.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to invalidate my angle or yours. I'm just saying like there's definitely a very
well,
I don't know. But I think that's like, I think musicals are some of those polarizing form of movie.
Yeah. Because they need to be able to, and maybe that's it, and maybe that's the thing that I'm not missing, or that I am missing, where it's like for me, I want to see a stage show and then push the boundaries of what you're doing on the stage show with the film medium, because I also love the film medium. And I think that's one of the reasons I like La La Land, is because they're like, all right, yeah, let's push it.
Yeah.
Push it to what we're doing here, you know? But it feels so often with the translation of movie musicals, we lose that dreamlike quality.
Yeah.
In because we're trying to make the space real.
Yeah. Well, the pool scene feels super 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And it has this creative nature, and I like I mean, this is a creative thing. Is in the pool scene, there's underwater, and the music is all like droned out and washed out, and then you come out, and the music is big and good fidelity, because you're not like, that was a cool element. Yeah. So that's like one of the cooler elements, but then it also has just like that same ensemble, simple set piece kind of setting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really complaining. I'm just trying to play into your conversation.
No, I hear you. But and that's also not to say that getting all those people to dance in time and dance in the water and do all that stuff and having that crane shot and doing it and performing it is not impressive. That's very impressive. But it's also just a more direct translation of what we have on theater, on stage already. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why it's like, I like in watching Hamilton being performed live, it's like seeing it live from the third row to the back and seeing it down was like still like just incredible. Yeah. You know, and then seeing it with the Broadway cast of the Disney Plus, it's still like just absolutely incredible, because that's all happening right there, and they're moving and they're interacting with it. Yeah. And you have to make, like, it's an active participation where you have to make stuff. So
I think that's definitely one of the magic of theater is you feel a part of it. Yeah. Even just the simple, like, breathing the same air, like, just physically being there. Yeah. But it also is like you're putting in the work too, with your brain and imagination, and like filling in the dots
and it's unique
and stuff.
To you because it's like how it feels and how it hits you.
Yeah, exactly.
Is much more. And so I don't know. And I guess to like kind of undermine myself is like, it has to be, this can't be that. It has to be more universal, because Warner Brothers needs to sell it. Yeah. You know?
Which is fair.
And it's just, that's just something I'm missing. That's something I want. From movie musicals in general, and what makes me nervous sort of about Hamilton eventually is like, I'm worried that they'll, I mean, again, I don't know how you translate that unless you do it as like a one shot, which would be fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean,
like Birdman style, you kind of like go through.
I'm thinking of, and not a particularly good example or good movie, but Beauty and the Beast, the live action. Mm-hmm. I'm remembering a lot of like long takes, at least on the opening musical number. Yeah. So there's reference there. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I think that it would be really interesting to see. I mean, obviously, I think that you could have cuts in places in Hamilton, like in Burn, where she cuts. Well, like that would be a cut. Anyway, I'm not directing it. Nobody's gonna ask me to direct it.
A big thing that they can pick
cool
up.
If it did. Hey, be cool if you guys. I'm not.
Hit me up.
No one's ever gonna. I'm not gonna be the guy. Even if for some reason five like they're not gonna get Patrick Pascal White guy to come do it, which is fine. I get it.
Well, I think one cool direction or cool add to the Hamilton live action is the battles or the military or like that kind of stuff. The war room, like these things. Yeah. Like maybe, that naturally can call for a big dance number or some creative form of the fighting. Like maybe it isn't a 1-to-1 battle. It's some kind of like, or the cabinet rap battle. I don't know. Like,
there's definitely ways.
Cool stuff to visualize there. That yes, it's nice to like use your brain and the whatever British soldiers on New York Harbor, whatever. Yeah. Like.
But I don't think. I think that whenever they do it, it'll be more 1-to-1.
Yeah, they're gonna literally show it.
Yeah. I just don't think it'll be. It won't be like it won't be. They won't homage. They won't be brave enough to homage to 8 Mile to have like the cabinet rap battles. Yeah. you know? And not that it should be, again, directly to that, but it's like having that classic set of like the rap battles. I think that I just think it'll be more one-to-one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What did you think of Vanessa?
I thought I liked her.
I think I liked her, and I didn't like how she was introduced, I guess. Like, up until she goes downtown, there's no humanizing, there's no character of her. Even when you see her get the fabrics from the trash, even at that point, I didn't feel like I got the characters, like what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
But it wasn't till the moment where she got frustrated and turned around.
I've never liked her introduction in the first song.
So maybe that's just a thing.
I don't know.
I really like the character, and I grew through her kind of wanting to be a creative and just that dream, that simple dream of that, and
also getting thwarted at every moment where it's like it doesn't matter what I do, and
keeping that fortitude and not versatility, the persistence, you know, that was cool to see, and I didn't have to grow to like her to realize that introduction was not great. It only made it worse now after the fact. Like that she just felt. I had no idea she was an important character until they really let me know that she's an important character.
Yeah.
And you know that comes with the nature of, if you got 5 or 6 main people you need to introduce and you want to introduce them naturally, someone's going to be later on.
Yeah.
You know, in the runtime of things, but she was pretty important.
Yeah,
and I would say she was more important than Nina in the sense of getting that introduction earlier.
Yeah, because she definitely connects up more to our narrator / protagonists.
Yeah,
a little bit more directly. But I think
she might be the last one introduced. So maybe it.
Well, Nina has her own special song, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but earlier.
Does it? I mean, because she's introduced. Are you talking about her introduction in the first song? Or like her introduction,
her like characterization song.
Oh yeah.
Moment, but I think it might be the last big character intro.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some rhyme or rhythm there where, you know, Usnavi first, love interest, other linchpin. The story is the one that bookends the intros.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think maybe that's something that has always, like, the structure of this show does seem a little bit wibbly wobbly as far as like where our emotional beats are and like where the connective tissues for the stories, like kind of speaking to that, where it's like, well, shouldn't she bookend, but it's then it's like, well, no, because she's like added as sort of like not an afterthought, but it's like she kind of feels like oh yeah, and then there's this.
That's what it felt like. I was like, oh, and then here's the love interest.
Yeah,
like I felt obligatory, but no.
She's more than that.
She's very important.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're all their personal stories are really engaging and interesting. But hers, I mean, I don't know.
I do.
Maybe because it struck a chord with me.
Musically, I've never liked her introduction.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like where it comes, it feels like it breaks the flow of that first, and not in a way that's like this is breaking the flow.
I don't know. And isn't it like there's a big high with the salon scene with Nina, and then it comes down because she's like, I dropped out.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're
like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Which they're kind of aggressively not supportive, which is a little weird. And I guess that justifies her apprehension.
Yeah.
And her defeatism there. But then we get another high-low with Vanessa, which I guess maybe is the point because it's all Sonitos and El Sonito, and or dreams, and then the rise and the hope, and then that's not like that kind of whatever.
Yeah,
but I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what. Obviously, way smarter people than me wrote this and have dissected it and had hands on it, but
this could kind of go to. A good little transition here to what was changed. And this is only from my recollection. And also keep in mind, I have not seen the show live. I have only listened to it multiple times, all the way through. So I don't actually
you don't know this like Hamilton.
I don't know this that way, you know, especially because I think that there's more dialogue in this movie just naturally than in Hamilton, because I'm pretty sure Hamilton's pretty like, hey, this is kind of an opera.
So it's the same amount of dialogue in the stage show?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think so. Mm-hmm. Because again, listening through it, you kind of like, oh, I missed something here. Something was happening.
Yeah.
But this song is cool.
Okay.
But so some of the stuff that was changed, and just my biggest thing that I dislike, well, this wasn't necessarily changed, but the thing I missed the most was the tension from the Blackout, the Powerless song. And right away, they're like 3 days to blackout. And it's like, why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah.
Why? Like,
something's coming.
Well,
and it also
something's coming because it says 3
telling
days to blackout.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's like a weird, I think that's...
It'd be like if in Parasite they were like, 72 hours until there's a family underneath the stairs.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Well, yeah, it's the big conflict. But it's what pushes everyone to your edge. It's like it kind of is a spiritual, like, damn, the neighborhood's different. Abuela dies. Like,
yeah. Well, then it's like they're literally like, it's both like, hey, they're literally powerless, but also they're not able to maintain their hold. They're powerless.
Yeah.
In what's happening, and it's like really fucking cool.
Well, and it's such a high and low too, where it's. Well, not a but like the clubbing scene, like some people have some highs, and obviously Usnavi and Vanessa aren't too hot there, but it's like fireworks, and then it's like fun, and there's like a lot of weird but then it's like, oh, it's a really bad thing.
I do love. Well, all right, so from what I know and from what I am listening to it, the Powerless song or Blackout is like. It's tense. There's a lot of urgency with it.
Yeah.
Like, instead of them just like, hey, we're going to pop fireworks off.
I think it's shown well with the dispatcher. I'm blanking on the character's name. Dr. Trey from
the BN
movie.
Benny.
Yeah, Benny. I got Benny and Sonny mixed up in my head a lot.
But in the show, Sonny is like, oh, shit. He was watching Usnavi's the bodega, and the grate won't come down. It's powerless. People are going to steal stuff, so he has to fight off people, and the grate won't come down. And like, they have the candles, they have the Roman candles, and they're like trying to blast them to like be like, get away from here, get away. So there's a lot of urgency with that.
Well, that felt like a missed opportunity.
And like, it's like, but instead in this, they're like, oh, we're popping off fireworks, and people are breakdancing because they're like, oh, there's no power. We're going to fucking breakdance and have a great time. We're taking the party outside now in the fireworks instead of it being like, oh, the power's out.
Well, that's very stark, too, because it stuck out because, like, Usnavi and Vanessa not having a good day. And then, okay, well, apparently Sonny wasn't having a good day. Well, Benny is okay, but he's realizing, shit, I need to get shit together. So there's urgency there.
And also,
it's completely missing that, and I think the breakdancing fireworks.
In the midst of that song, Usnavi runs into Abuela, and she shows him the lottery ticket. She's walking around while people are sort of like rioting and stuff because they're powerless, and people are like, "Oh shit!" So there's this other thing. There's this old lady with this winning lottery ticket, and he's like, "I gotta get you home."
Jeez.
And so it's like, this is like a tense moment, and they turned it into a party.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is your high. This is your rising action.
Yeah.
And then we come down from there. Like, as far as like story structure goes, it's like, what's the fucking climax now?
Yeah. That's really bizarre.
It's a strange choice. And I don't understand. And then, like, again, I go back to like the 3 days and then like 30 days to blackout. In the show, all of this takes place over like the course of 3 days. And in the Carnival de Barrio, where Usnavi is like, he literally says in the song, I'm buying a ticket tomorrow, and I'm flying out.
Well, they drag it on long enough.
And then it's 30 days later, and he's still there?
Well, yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It gives too much time where, like, because in the movie there's enough passage of time, it just felt like I already learned the lesson of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it was I was like, yeah, your home is always here. Your home is where you make it.
Yeah.
It's this community. It's the people you love. It's the people around you. You're chasing a dream. Ironically, when everyone's chasing like good like dreams of like their goals and their passions,
yeah,
he's chasing a different dream and maybe the wrong dream, which is an interesting thing in itself. In terms, it's just interesting. But anyways, like you learn that so fast,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he learns it or he has that moment, just like it's kind of cheapened or just like I mean,
You got it, dude. Figure it out.
and it felt like it took like in the fact that his realization or self-actualization was people begging him to stay by acts of kindness felt weird.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe the point is he already had that and he was in denial, needed that push, but it still felt weird.
It's weird that it took 30 days for them to get to that point.
That too, yeah.
And also that they felt the need, like there's no narrative sense other than the fact that they wanted to add that song about her going off to college, that it needed to be 30 days later. That doesn't make make any narrative sense.
Yeah.
Second thing, it's funny that you said home is where this is, or whatever you said there, because Nina's mom, who is dead in this, is alive in the show, and she, after they have that blow up at dinner, she's like, hey, don't fucking... She goes to the dad. It's a song which for her, between the dad and Nina, where she's like, don't you guys fucking talk to me. We keep this in house. You guys don't yell at each other. We're going to figure it out together. She talks to the dad. He's like, do you want to be like your dad, who's a fucking hard ass and only did things his way? Why are you the way that you are now? And she's like, it's like, hey, your dad, he's pretty stubborn and does what he wants to do. Who does that sound like?
Yeah.
We are here together. And like, instead of her having that like realization by herself, like kind of like hitting her like an epiphany, it's like, no, family again reinforces what the message is, and they stay together and they learn to like together. And it's like that was like another good song where it's like, hey, no, we're doing this together. We're all here. Don't you guys be mad at each other. This is family. This is forever.
Family and community are the major themes.
So those are some of the things that are different and bothered me.
What bothered me was the weird, disjointed shoulder dancing guy in the pool scene.
I hate those.
I cringe at even like weird knuckle cracking. Like I can crack my knuckles. It doesn't really make. Well, it's just like.
Well, but it's like the people. I could not do it. I appreciate it, I guess, as far as like, you've got flexibility. You're killing it.
I had to look away. That's I'm just squeamish with that. That's as simple as that.
It's not good for me. We are in the same boat there, my friend. I like watching like circus stuff, and whenever there's contortionists, it's like I just want it to end. Like, I understand that you are so good at this.
Well, now I know how to torture you if I need to torture you, and now
you
know to torture me. So
yeah, we would both hate it. You're like, yeah.
Well, I got a minor other negativo. The PD character just didn't get like he's important enough to be in this.
PD?
Yeah, the graffiti guy.
Oh yeah.
He's exactly. Like he just he's in there kind of spray painting and stuff in the beginning. You can pick him up, but if you didn't, but at that time he's just an extra.
Yeah.
As far as you're concerned, and then he's with the guys on the pool day.
Oh, okay.
He's like okay, who's this guy? Cool.
Is he reading Castlevania?
I don't know. Not Petey.
But Manuel being Paragua.
But it's just like he's integral to Vanessa's story, and he's there. And she
doesn't do a whole lot with those drop cloths either. When it comes to the end, she takes his drop cloths.
I guess all you need is a spark.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but yeah,
being picky, and I realize that.
I think that PD character could have been introduced somehow, even with the name drop.
Yeah,
obviously, we're smart enough as an audience to start to infer it, but it's just like everyone else is introduced. Literally every single person is introduced that has lines.
Yeah.
Besides him, and that was weird. I did really love the Christopher Jackson and Lin-Manuel Miranda rivalry.
Yeah.
As like ice cream men. Like it was so good. It's so petty.
Yeah.
But it's a good callback to them being the original cast of Benny and Usnavi.
Yeah.
And so Paragua, why was he actually important to the story besides like?
Oh, because it's probably a traditional the
shaved ice thing.
Yeah, the shaved ice thing. And it's like a little like, hey, here's a little bit of home. Why would you let Mr. Softy come and take it over?
Okay.
Whenever you have this little bit of home.
Yeah. because it can if he's in the original, that's
Ragnar dropped another one, dude.
it's coming my way.
It's coming, dude.
Ragnar
oh my
the dog.
gosh.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like if I didn't look into it deep or think about it, it kind of can read like this is Lin-Manuel getting in the movie.
Yeah. The song is in the show.
Yeah.
Also, this dry cleaner dude charging her $120 or $117 to dry clean these napkins.
Well, maybe it's because they're so delicate or specialized. I don't know.
I mean, and that's all. It's all to say, like, I still liked it, you know, but there's just those. I feel like we saw all the cool stuff in the trailer as far as like what was like pushing the envelope, like visually. It's like what I talked about,
yeah,
and then also like some of those moments that, like I was really looking forward to seeing the blackout, and it feels like they like neutered it,
yeah,
as far as like a tension moment. And like again, now looking back at it, I don't know what, because that's the end of the first act song, essentially, and it's like I don't know what.
I can't think of a reason why it'd be cut out,
or cut out like the way that it is, or cut down. And then there's also something too where it's like, and again, I've only listened to it, so I don't really know. But I've heard it's really fucking cool on stage from people who have seen it. But it's like, it's so chaotic and full, and people are so like, there's so much stuff going on that like to make it like this, like, oh no, the power went out, we're out of the club, we're just gonna walk home. It's like everyone's pretty chill. Hey, let's light up some fireworks.
It felt too community too.
Yeah,
you can interpret it as like individuals having fun, but it felt like the community was having a good time.
Yeah,
and then cut to the community falling apart soon after.
Yeah,
and they pin it on Abuela dying, but
it could very well, like, because it's like, all right, listen, that's like our moment where it's like, oh shit, we're gonna take advantage individually, and like we'll do some stuff and do some robbing and, you know, take advantage of this like on an individual level. And then after that, it's like Abuela dying is like the unifying factor where it's like, oh shit, we were fucking assholes.
Well, yeah, they come together for it.
Yeah.
But then after that, they give up, and like, I hardly recognize the neighborhood anymore. It's like, what changed? Like, why did it like? It did a bad job of really giving gravity to the impact she had to the neighborhood.
Yeah. Because
it made it seem really insular to those closest to her, like she had an impact on a little group of people.
Yeah, and then they had that politician lady who was like, "We lost this great woman," and I was like, "Wait a second, who are you?"
Yeah, so they didn't do a good job showing her width and breadth of influence, even after that. And
yeah,
it could have been a simple bit where she just walking down the street and saying, "Hey," I don't know, there's just a disconnect there. And so when you know things fell apart because she died, or the community felt lost after she died, even though we were shown a unifying act with the candles,
yeah,
it just doesn't sell, and it didn't read for me. And then so it made the conflict of like when Daniela is trying to get the community back together, it's like, what's wrong with you guys still? Like what? Why did you get like? I guess the heat. I mean, the heat's pretty disabling.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. So but it's like focus on what is bringing people down. Like what is bringing everyone down here? Is it obviously probably a combination of everything, but it's just like it feels like it's trying to tell me specific things or the cause at different points instead of just saying like it's a shit sandwich right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you. I mean, and that's like as we sort of, I feel like we're winding down here a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, all that being said, it's like, it's still fun.
It's still fun. I think this is one of my higher rated movies of the year.
Yeah. And it's still like,
I don't know. I was crying the whole second half of the fucking movie. It hit on so many heartstrings for me. Like, I think this is the most negatively talked about a movie I personally at least liked a lot.
I like it too. I just have like, you know, it also hits on some like personal notes as far as like the translation between theater and film, where it's like I love both of those mediums, and I think that there's a place where that they meet. And maybe I'm just being picky for myself, where it's like I want the best of both things, and in order for it to sell, it needs to lean one way or another.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, and because again, I love it. I love Lin-Manuel. You know,
You loved him?
I love him. I just love him as a human. And you know, I am scared and excited to see the Hamilton movie when it comes out in 2026.
That'll be divisive, at least for the thespians out there.
I mean, I'm gonna say like it depends on what happens. It could be the best thing, or
Not.
it'll be, you know, what it is.
Well, what do you give it? I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it might be my highest rated movie of the year.
Okay.
Especially for New Year's movies.
New Year's movies.
For new movies this year. Yeah, I think I just gave it that high rank because it made me feel a lot of emotions, and it was a very relevant time in my life in the middle of a move and leaving what has become a home to me, and and then also just not having that sense of home, because where I've my immediate family hub is so disconnected because they're not in Maine where I grew up, and that's super far, and then where we had moved and finished my high school years, they moved away from, so I don't even have that.
And you're going back to that same
but I'm going
place.
back there, so like kind of getting that sense.
It's interesting.
But at the same time, like there's so many people, 6 out of 10 people, or most people I know, can go back home, and there's those familiar friend, like that hub, that nucleus of that sense of home for them is always there still.
Yeah.
And so I was also jealous of Usnavi, and I was frustrated with him for leaving that and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that brought up a lot. But I mean, I'm very close to my family, and they're still close proximity. I'm fine. Got a very healthy, like, it's living the life still, but but it's still a thing that's missing from me.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
so I saw that in this, and then just the general emotions of moving and chasing dreams and expectations of what your life is going to be.
Yeah,
even
what your
as
like
a big
should have
theme.
been or should be.
And
that's why the Nina one hits me so good.
Yeah, or even
or bad.
Even the Bella dying scene, even.
Yeah,
because it still makes you reflective of your whole life.
Yeah,
even if you're not.
And then of like
even
your
if you got to start
life,
it,
like what they were doing in order to get you to where you are.
Yeah, and it makes you think of your lineage and
the
set of circumstances that others have done to put you in this, at least for me personally, a place of privilege.
The connectiveness or the lack of connectedness for this stuff.
Yeah. So 4.5 because it hit really well.
I'll give it, 3.8 piraguas.
Nice.
Out of 5 piraguas.
Nice.
I think, funnily enough, I had higher expectations.
Interesting.
I think I built it up a little bit in my mind. I would say
you're excited.
That's fair. I was excited. I wanted to see it. And like, again, the trailer made me be like, oh shit, they're gonna go out on this one.
Yeah.
And then they showed us all the cool stuff in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
For me, for what I wanted, as far as like, we're filming some musical theater and we're going all the way.
Yeah.
So,
well,
what have you been watching?
I watched Romeo plus Juliet.
Last
night. That movie is chaotic and fun.
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann doing his Baz Luhrmann thing.
I think the movie kind of peaked at the beginning with "I bite my thumb at you," and they're just yelling at each other.
You bite your thumb at me?
Like that just peaked.
Jamie Kennedy.
The movie just peaked at the beginning for me.
Yeah.
It was still good, but I was just like, "This is so fucking good right now." Just them yelling at each other at a gas station and these cars and guns.
Oh my gosh!
And then I watched Inside Bo Burnham, which we'll be talking about next week.
Yeah.
So what have you watched?
Crazy. I watched Inside.
Funny. It's like we planned that.
But it's actually my second time watching it. I watched it
a
little while ago. I don't think I brought it up because I forgot.
Well, it came out May 30th.
Yeah.
So you've seen it twice in the last 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
And I watched it a little bit today too. And then I also watched Prometheus.
Nice.
I
do when I get back. I mean, not that because they're particularly good, but I just want to watch those.
They look
cinematic.
Good.
Yeah.
They I think that's one of the things
that still does counts for something. Yeah,
it's the aesthetic is very pleasing, even if it's kind of like Ridley Scott like doubling down on his lore that nobody really asked for.
Yeah,
like it's just funny because like
It's like
I don't think in the Alien movie.
it'd be one thing if the lore and the story ended up actually being cool, but it didn't.
Yeah. Or I mean, it's like
At least for me.
okay, well, it's like kind of cool, but it's also like, huh, cool. Not like a whoa, cool.
Yeah.
It's like, huh, interesting. So,
yeah,
engineers engineered humans. Okay, why? Okay, all right. You know what? Cool.
just like making badass worker ants, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that was In the Heights.
That was In the Heights.
It's you can go see it in theaters on HBO Max.
Yeah, go see it in theaters. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen, be safe and do all stuff, but if you're vaccinated,
Patrick shaming quarantining official.
oh man, no.
We'll get it. We'll probably get into some of that on next week's episode. It's
Yeah.
very relevant to the movie.
And hit us up on Twitter and all the cool places that you could comment on the YouTube video.
Let us know what you think, because I'm curious.
Yeah,
what people think of this movie.
I think it's interesting because you had very little experience with this.
Yeah.
And I had moderate experience with this. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted you to talk about like what you thought was like how you felt about it initially before I was like, here's all the things I hate.
Well, I mean, I already felt weird about the fireworks stuff, so I guess that validated my weird feeling about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Well, as they say in Washington Heights,
no me diga. It's inappropriate. I love you.
bye.